Thanks again for staying with us on the program this morning on ITV as we continue our conversations on the so many gates of corruption rocking the country at the moment. We started off with the NDDC, but let me just give you an insight into the scope of our conversation and the issues that are there already in the public domain. The Senate, well, they said they expressed shock over the stunning revelation that the Nigerian police force and the staff of NDDC shared 3.14 billion naira as palliatives for the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, and let me give you the breakdown. Specifically, NDDC officials shared 1.5 billion naira as COVID-19 palliatives, while the police got 475 million naira to buy face masks and hand sanitizers. That's not all. The Chairman Senate Ad hoc Committee investigating the alleged 40 billion naira allegedly expended by the Interim Management Committee of IMNC of the NDDC, Olubunmi Adetumbi, APC Ekiti North, noted the expenditure at the commencement of the investigative hearing at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja. This was as the NDDC Director of Projects, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, accused Chairman of the Senate and House of Representatives committees on NDDC of hijacking the 2020 budget of the agency. Adetumbi pointed out that the expended fund was contained in the document submitted to the committee by the Managing Director of the IMC, Keme Bradipkumo Pondei. Well, we could just go on and see all the startling revelation, but just to give you the perspectives in which we're looking at it from. Recall that the NDDC board was screened by the Senate, and then it was on the verge of being, they were on the verge of being sworn in until the minister moved for the establishment of an interim management committee. All right, and with the Interim Management Committee, you can see all the revelations that are coming in. Well, just a welcome personally, we just joined this conversation this morning. Many things are coming on the program.
Yeah, good morning.
So, what are the thoughts running through that have been running through your mind since this issue came out with the NDDC? Yeah. Particularly with the Senate, because I recall that you said you threw a jab at the National Assembly that they just said. But if not for the Senate, probably would not have known all of these things coming forth. Yeah, yeah.
It's an advocacy group that brought it forth. The
petition
is in it.
Okay, but the Senate is investigating it. They could have sat on it, not doing anything. That's what I want to make.
Yeah, I'm not contesting.
All right, so let me get to you, Pius.
Yes, my brother, it's very unfortunate that members of NDDC were appointed and screened by the Senate, and because of politics and self-interest, some people moved for interim management committee using the guise of curbing corruption. The intention was to set up a forensic. They said they have started and they want to continue, and with the intention of continuing in the perpetuation of corruption. We know the antecedent of some of these interim committee members. Some of them are having corruption hanging on their heads. So it's really, really unfortunate. The issue of palliative has become another corruption avenues for all aspects of government in Nigeria. And even if you come back home, in our government here.
Well, I just want us to look at it nationally, Pius. I want us to look at it nationally.
It's general.
Yeah, I know it's general, but you see the thrust of it.
It's not political.
No, the thrust of the discussion. I want us to just think on course.
It's not political. It's general.
If you go like that, you go to Italy in this discussion.
Yes.
So it's general.
I know it's general, but I just want us to stay on course.
So when it comes to corruption, it's very pervasive in our country. And it is not wrong if you also bring it to your locality, because you feel the impact more when it comes to.
But of course, you put it in the right context. Yeah.
If you want to put a boundary on that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I want to say very clearly that what we are seeing is the fact that we don't have strong institutions. We build characters. We look at we are building men. We are not building institutions. And that is why you are having all these problems. Some people will begin to say, oh, we need strong men. we also need strong institutions. No, if we have very strong institutions, irrespective of who is occupying that office, if we have a very good institutional framework, you find it very easy to detect fraud. You operate on transparency principle. The system must be open so that when there are mistakes, you are able to detect. So, but the problem we are having in this country is that the institutions are corruption ridden. They have corrupted the system. So that is the problem we have. I keep saying that even in our vast country, we have corrupt people. But the institutions that they have built are not allowing them to do that. Because when you do that, you are caught easily. The internal mechanism that they have put in place in every organization are there to check this corruption.
No, you see, these arguments of institutional men.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Okay, just establish that.
Let me finish that. The internal mechanism in every institution are there to check where there are errors and mistakes.
Yeah, where there are breaches.
Where there are breaches. You understand? And so that is why we are having all these issues. Now, a system where you don't have internal mechanism to even regulate yourself, or internal mechanism that have been corrupted. So that is where they are going to, until we begin to build institutions that are transparent. It will be easy, it will act as somebody just carry billions. What it shows is that we don't have a system, because if we do, it is not possible. Yeah. It's not possible. So the truth of the matter is that it's not about the fact that the system is so porous. It's easy for people to be corrupt, and it's easy for people to tamper with. So until we begin to build all these institutions here and there, and unfortunately, the Western world have advanced beyond this level. Even though there are some elements of corruption, I'm not saying that it's 100% free. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that they concentrate and put resources on building institutions. They develop their institutions every day by putting structures in place that will monitor the activities of everybody. Yeah. So if you are working and you have something you have done anything, you put it on the system. Yeah. It's easy, transparent, even if you are not at work. Somebody can enter your system and see what you have done. Yeah. So all these systems are not in operation here. So this is what this corruption is going to change. Do you know why? It's easy for people to be corrupt. It's easy for people to tamper with the system. It's easy for people to tamper with institutions. You understand? Can you imagine a man who was asked to come and do forensic audits? A man that was brought into a court corruption. He came back to stop the inauguration of the substantive board because he has personal interest. And with some powerful forces, he succeeded in stopping the inauguration of NDDC board. Even when they have been screened by the National Assembly, and up to today, that is how it has happened. They continue with it. So until we begin to do this, my brother, there is just no way we can stop this issue of corruption in this country. We must build institutions, and we must continue to improve on our institutions. The regulatory system must be part of our organizational framework. Like the ITV now, there must be a regulatory structure in place to regulate the activity of everybody. Yeah. And if there is anything that triggers if somebody has tampered with the system, otherwise, people will just begin to look.
Well, you see, it's nice talking about institutions or building institutions, building men. It's almost like the question of is it the egg before the omelette or omelette before the egg? Whatever it is, it cannot be in a vacuum. One of the examples we like to give is what we call authoritarian democracy. And the authoritarian democracy system, which is also regarded as benevolent despotism, was an outcome of what Paul Kagame has been able to do in Rwanda. You need a strong-willed man who has the people's interest at heart and who wants to drive new values and new institutions around the place. When you come with that firmness and honesty and integrity, because those who lead us, what is the kind of character that they have? All sorts of spurious people. It's like he was giving an example. You stop a board and yet you have other intention, which means you don't have character. Should you be there? You are known for A, B, C, D. You have EFCC cases around you. And then people you shouldn't be there. So when Paul Kagame has been able to do this, that is the reason why Rwanda is now the poster child for a successful African country, where you hardly can ever have these kind of things we're discussing.
Okay.
Kigali, the capital city, is one of the cleanest. They are now growing good institutions. They are making their own cell phones. They are doing things.
Making their cars, sir.
Making their cars.
Yes,
and yet here we are in Nigeria with all the possibilities. It is just not there. So where is the leadership? Where is the vision? Who are they? And we're not choosing the right people. And one of those things that didn't create the right frame for that institution is public discussion. You know, we don't even engage in serious discussion in Nigeria. People see that drink beer, talk nonsense, accuse governor, accuse president, then you go to bed. That won't change the system. You must be looking at what are the ideas. What ideas are the leading ideas?
Yeah.
And that's why we say one of the things the media should be doing is providing leading ideas. You drive the people to think in a particular
That's what we're doing right now.
Yes,
That's what we're doing right now. All right, let me get Frank in. Frank, I'm concerned with the fact that, take for example the NDDC board, screened by the Senate. All that was left was for the members of the board to be inaugurated. That didn't happen. In the case of Magu, a similar scenario played out. The Senate rejected him on the grounds of the reports or allegations against him by the DSS. He was retained in that position. What do you make of this disconnect between the executive and the legislature in entrenching good governance and democracy, fighting corruption? What are your thoughts?
My first deduction from this scenario is the fact that we have a dysfunctional presidency. We have a system where, unfortunately, nobody is in charge. So things go in different directions. That is the truth. Because if we have a presidency that is functional, you vet processes. Before the names of people come to the president's table, it has gone through proper vetting by relevant security agencies and other agencies that are involved in that process. So for such a long-winded exercise to have been done, in quotes, even taxpayers' money is expended, and all of a sudden it's just set aside as if it was a whistle that was blown by one hunter in the bush. It shows the fact that the system is similarly dysfunctional. Coming back to the same Magu case that you affirmed, Magu, when he was acting chairman, within the first 3, 4, 5 months of Buhari presidency in 2015, Buhari, his body language was law, in quotes.
Yeah.
Because people were still hoping on the body language. Unfortunately, the language has expired presently. But at that time,
and the body disconnected.
at that time, if Buhari had submitted his name to the Senate, they would have confirmed him immediately. He didn't do that. Why did you retain him in acting capacity for so long? And you now allow him to start, in quotes, investigations and trying to have people in the same Senate that you need to send his name to for confirmation. Then it's by a year and how many months later you now send his name for confirmation. Of course, it speaks of seriousnness. Now look at the other case scenario. You sent his name. A department under you that reports directly to you, the DSS, sent a report to the Senate. Now, by all protocol, whatever report that leaves the DSS, the president is supposed to be detailed about it.
Absolutely.
How come the president did not know? You sent a name to be confirmed in the Senate. An agency that is under you, that works in your presidency, sent a report to counter to ensure that the person you sent will not be cleared. Now, on a normal day, if the DSS had issues with Magu, are they not supposed to submit the report to the president? By convention, anybody to be appointed in such a lofty office, the DSS always does normal screening and they submit report to the president.
Okay.
It means that the president possibly got that report and he not look at it. So you see,
It's also possible he never got the report.
if he didn't get it, then he's not the president. It is strange. Now, it's a history of dysfunction. And that is how I said just now that Magu has served longer than all the others in the FCC. Unfortunately, he was never a chairman. Even when the act setting up the body states that anybody that will be chairman will be there for 4 years, the name subject to renewal for another 4 years maximum. The guy has never been chairman. He has served for about 5 years plus. It's the same presidency. No, when I looked at that allegation sheet, in quote, from the AGF, I was just wondering, I said, why are these people taking us like we don't have brains? In that allegation, it made reference to the fact that he was living in the mansion, how many,
40 million.
stuff. It made reference to the fact that the guy is not submissive. Made reference to P&ID case. When I looked at it, I said, but these same reports were put forth by the DSS at that time, and you guys overlooked it.
So what is now? What has changed now?
What's new? What's new?
See the P&ID case. Magu was appointed in November 2015.
And they even flew abroad over that P&ID case. They went abroad to...
No, see what I'm trying to establish.
Yeah.
The case of P&ID, the judgment that vitalized that case was put forth before Magu was appointed. But in that sheet that the AGF is writing, it's saying that Magu did not...
So are you foreseeing a political witch hunt?
See, as much as there may be flaws on every side, unfortunately, witch hunt is the culture in this country. See a clear case. What does it take? People are raising eyebrow. Magu is a public official. What does it take to send him a letter of invitation? At least, he's a man, he cannot escape, he will come to honor it.
Yeah.
Why does he have to be...
Have to grandstand
and then arrested and all of
it. He was going for a meeting with the IGP police.
Yeah.
No, but
let's take it one at a time. Let me get this price.
You see, when you advocate for a strong character, you are advocating a very dangerous and very terrible trend. The reason is because when you have a system that is prone to corruption, a system that is susceptible to corruption, what you have is that even good men can be lured to be corrupt. You understand what I mean? Now, the issue of Magu is another case. Magu may have had intention of coming to do a good job. But when he got there, he discovered a porous system. A system where you can recover and reloot. A system where you can put 550 billion in accounts and collect the interest of that 550 billion for 5 years, and nobody will know. You see?
Yeah, because that's one of the allegations.
You see, these are allegations. A system where you can collect houses from people, and you sell those houses to yourselves and to your cronies and friends. The system will not detect anyway. You see, the system is porous. We don't have institutions. Even good men, it can be lured into corruption. Of course. So until we begin to build institutions that deter people from being corrupt and that punish them, catch them easily, and ensure that they face justice as quickly as possible, people will not be deterred. Even a pope will come to Nigeria and be corrupt. The reason is because
I agree with you.
The system is corrupt. The system is built on corruption. You are made a governor or you are made a president. You discover that you have so much power.
I think we just need to tone down on it. When you said even the Pope can come, I know you use it figuratively, but it's not figurative. Yeah, please.
What I'm saying,
yes.
You know, you get frustration in Nigeria.
you I'm sorry, I'm not using it for the religious communication. I'm using it from the perspective of even good men, even godly men. Of course. Can be. You understand? We are all human beings. Until we begin to put structures, build institutions, structures in place, and continue to advance on those structures. Yeah. We continue to have these issues. Just because.
That's what he said.
Yes.
He talked about the fact that 550 billion put in account, interest collected over 5 years. The FCC was. See, in the FCC Act, almost all major agencies are part of the FCC. If money was collected by the accent of the FCC, even the central bank governor is a member of that body.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the director general of NAFDAC, the controller general of the customs, immigration director. Now, the act states very categorically that either the director general or his representative, either the CBN governor or his representative. So, what I think ought to be done presently, which is missing in this country, we always talk about financial audit. I think Nigeria should get to the point where we should talk about productivity audit.
Yes.
So much is done of no consequence. People are given responsibility that don't held to account. How come all these people are part of the FCC?
And yet.
And they don't know what happened. Can the person representing the central bank governor not know when interest left the account? When the account is to the CBN? We are just now.
All right. No, you see, there's an element you throw in. I think, you know, if you like, I want to turn the scale, maybe from this high-level talk to what is also another dimension. Do you know it's just an in-house game they're playing? We know when the Fulanis are playing politics. This is what you are getting.
I don't want us to reduce it to ethnic.
No, don't.
I don't want to
it is not a reduction.
Mm.
It is when we close our eyes and we are not playing it seriously amongst ourselves. That's when we lose trend. It is about 2023. Playing out in another way. The House wants to reorganize itself.
Yeah.
Look, Nigeria is a mafia state.
Okay. Let me pause you here. Let me pause you here. And in my little research about what's playing out in the EFCC, for example, there are other institutions that play similar functions like the EFCC. The ICPC is also in this business of recovering loot, recovering assets and stuff like that. We don't know what's going on. Over the years, the customs, they've also been in this business of recovering loot, recovering assets and things like that. Well, once in a while we hear them destroy some of these things. Even people are auction them. Who regulates or monitors all of this? EFCC is in the domain, and maybe because, like someone has said, Magu is no longer relevant to the scheme of things. That's what Uncle T was trying to do. I didn't want to go to that today, not today. But there's a video I wanted to see. There's a video I wanted to see. This video is online. You search for it on YouTube, you find it there. Very popular video involving the former MD of NDDC accusing the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. She talked about an oath she was supposed to take. She talked about some of the fraudulent activities the minister allegedly wanted her to get involved in, which she refused.
Yes.
And then they tried to speak to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, rebuffed journalists. He didn't speak to them. He wasn't disposed to speaking to them, even though he had agreed that he would speak to them to be able to get his own perspective on the issue. Well, let's take a look at this video. We'll be back with you to conclude our discussions on the show today.
To plan against him. Water hyacinth and distilling. They said that the budget for water hyacinth and distilling was, I think, for about 3 to 5 billion. I'm not sure exactly how much. But that the NDDC, before I came, had overstretched itself to about 50 billion for water hyacinth and distilling. And so the National Assembly had written us, they have it also, they had written us that we should not pay for anything like that. He said, and guess what? Akpabio never signs any documents. He will always refuse to sign, but he will tell you to go and commit the fraud. For instance, he told me to go and raise a memo and give an emergency contract for flood victims. He wanted me to take an oath. He has denied that, but I want to say today, he told me up to 3 times until we had a reconciliation meeting at the villa in the house of Mr. Sadiki Abba, who is the SA to the president on domestics. In that meeting was Alaji Mekano. He said the only condition is that oath. And I will never take the oath from him. So he said he was going to remove me. He started a campaign of calumny against me. He said I did not answer him because the facts will speak for itself. Now, to end this matter about the procurement process, I refuse to go with him to deceive Mr. President at the FEC meeting, because the Procurement Act says if I contravene any section of the Procurement Act, it's 5 years imprisonment without an option of fine. So if I go and say they should pay for the process, if you see, they say it's for 2020 budget. Akpabio went to get the approval from FEC. The 2020 budget has not even been discussed by the National Assembly till today. The 2020 budget has not been passed. However, he lied to FEC, which is the greatest embarrassment in this country, for a budget that has not been passed, for an approval to be given for that procurement. I refused to go because he wanted me to send the money for the procurement to the ministry to implement the forensic audit. I refused. I am challenging him to deny any of these allegations because I have to round up for you people. But all the facts and all that I've said are all written are all written in my documents.
Okay, Joy Nune, former MD of the NDDC, pouring venoms and vituperations on the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio. Now, they tried to get Godswill Akpabio to respond in that video, but he declined. But we have his response to the allegations made by that woman. We'll show that to you in a moment, but let me get back to our panel saying in the studio. Yes, Pius.
Yes, Akpabio said something. He said that instead of responding to the issues that this woman raised, he said that we should go and ask the four previous husbands of this woman about her character.
Okay.
That is just what he said. And I begin to wonder if that is the issue. That is her personal life. That is not what we want to hear. We want to hear precisely how he is responding to this allegation. So he's just begging the questions. So these are the issues. That is what I keep saying. That is not about talking about great men or talking about characters. These are temporary solutions. You put, so they are just temporary. We talked about Kangama just now. Kangama is good, but the truth of the matter is that Kangama will leave.
What happens when he leaves?
What happens when he leaves? You see, institutions
But we're hoping that along the way,
succession plan.
along the way, and enable the people to think differently, and that's how you create institutions.
Let's build. You see, institutions evolve. Institutions is not a stagnant thing. It evolves, and it must evolve with the dynamics of society. You see, and that is how you build a strong institution. And we are becoming so smart in our criminality. We must build institutions that are smart our criminality. You see, until we build institutions that are smart the criminalities of men, it's difficult to curb it. Nigeria cannot stop corruption until we advance in our institutional plan. By the time we advance, it will be difficult to carry out corruption. We've been flogging the issue of corruption for a very long time, but the real issue is when we have not addressed. I will begin to talk about, oh, this man is not corrupt, this man is a decent man, this man is a good man, or this man is... But by the time they get there, they see that, man, this place is porous. I can do this, I can do that.
Okay.
So until we begin to do that,
Frank, yeah.
I think what Oga was trying to say with reference to strongmen is not placing on due premium of strongmen per se. It's the fact that by conventional narratives, as in strongmen build institutions.
Yeah.
Because it's easier for them, they take charge. Good strongmen.
Yes.
Because
That's it. You need that qualification. Yes.
I've always opined that Obasanjo had the best opportunity to build this country.
Yeah.
But he was thinking about himself in power. Because whatever he said or he was inclined to was like law already. But then I'm placed premium on building institutions that will sustain democracy and the greatest good to the greatest number of people all the time. He placed
But you had a certain no ribadu as a man in that institution.
The man is not the issue.
Yes.
What's happened to Nuhu Ribadu? If the relevant laws to protect the institution, would Nuhu Ribadu have escaped from Nigeria with a bike through the borders?
No, but I wanted to combine what you said. You know, he raised the point with what you're just saying now. You remember that you did a poser. ICPC is there, EFCC is there. And who created the two structures? Obasanjo. And it's irrelevant to create those two structures.
Yeah.
If people are saying collapse them into one institution and then create a new structure that will make it a work. And he should have used EFCC to drive towards anti-corruption in Nigeria rather than himself, because it was himself who was looking at, rather than looking at how do we improve the system.
All right,
I don't think that having a number of agencies is not even the issue. There are countries that have over 400 anti-corruption agencies. Is the funny, you know, the problem with Nigeria is that we run the most expensive government in the history of mankind. I may go to
No, it's correct.
Now, presently, America, when we copy the appraisal system of government, they have barely 20 departments or ministries, as the case may be. When we're saying that it should be reduced in Nigeria, or also a report is there. Ariba report is there of 1995. How many reports have been put forth? It has been increased to around 40 something today. So we're just an irony of thoughts. Now come back to the issue of building the state. It's a dynamic process. Strong building institutions, no doubt. But these institutions, of course, will be built up by laws. Yeah. I give a very clear example of that. We don't want to build institutions yet. We are not tired of the situation. That's why we are. That is the truth. Change doesn't come by chance. In human history, change that is sustainable comes when the pulse of society, the prevalent pulse in a society is inclined to it. As much as Black Lives Matter today, about 20, 30 years ago, this protest would not have had this impact it is having in the world. But because the pulse is now so widespread, that even the whites, their children do not, these days, do not go by the opinion of their parents in the past. They now see that, look, times have changed. So for change to take place, there must be a prevalent pause by a majority of the citizens accepting the fact that this thing is no longer tolerable. In Nigeria, we are where we are because we are still tolerant of it. I give a simple analogy. You see, somebody once affirmed that there's no neutrality in the policy of nation state. When you have a system where so many people think they are neutral, over 70 or so % of Nigerians swear that there was neutrality. They say, no, it doesn't concern me. Some of them don't even bother to go and vote. They say, I'm not in government. Unfortunately, the philosopher affirmed that these guys who wear the garb of neutrality, they are a greater danger to society than those who support evil. Because in this guise of neutrality, you give a blank check to those who want to abuse the institutions of state. So the media must continue to, like it's been done now, sensitize. Awareness will grow. It will get to a point where the people will get tired. You see, when they say a straw broke a camel's back, it has never happened actually. A straw cannot break a camel's back. But the camel's back was broken by a straw because all the while the camel's back was being hit by iron. Different things had impact. The camel was still walking and they thought the camel was okay. Yeah. Oh, nothing happened. We are happy. We are happy people. But all of a sudden, a mere straw hit the camel's back and it got broken. The camel's back was not broken by the straw. The straw was just the final
push. The last push. And then it caved in. Yes. All right, let me proceed there. Now, we've got the clip, courtesy Arise TV, Arise News, put that clip together, where Godswill Akpabio responded to some of the allegations made by the former MD of NDDC, Joy Nune. We'll take a look at that. We'll be back to conclude our discussions.
I have to explain this. It's not a personal thing. I'm not going to be there for long. But allow the accusations to come. Let us at least mention, I don't want to dwell on your last guest, but I want to just mention one reason. She was not relieved of her appointment because of corruption. She wasn't relieved of her appointment because
why was she relieved?
Because of the reasons. She was relieved of her appointment because of insubordination. My ministry that should supervise her wrote 7 letters to her. She never responded to one. And then, of course, she said she was bigger than the minister of Niger Delta.
Okay, insubordination.
Insubordination. I have the letter here.
Okay.
Then outside that, the then chief of staff, may he rest in peace, sent this to me. This was a petition from an anti-corruption agency. Insisting that she did not have the requisite qualification to work as an acting managing director of a commission.
Okay, the title of this, if I could read it, if you permit me to do so, a case of non-possession of valid NYSC certificate by Joy Nune, acting MD of NDDC, an urgent call for redress.
And this is what she submitted as her only qualification on earth. A letter from Council of Legal Education.
Okay.
Just read what is written there, confirmation.
Yes, this is to confirm that Nunye Joy Yimebe was a student of the Nigerian Law School during the 1989 and 1990 academic session.
Go on.
Yes, and she was mobilized for the National Youth Service Corps program for 1989-1990 service year. She has, however, informed us of the loss of her discharge certificate by a letter dated October 23, 2019.
And this is somebody who was supposed to have finished in 1990. And it is in 2019, a few days to our inauguration, that she's informing us through a letter from law school, not through a letter from NYSC. And now she went...
If I can still hold on to this.
You will. Yeah. This is her affidavit. Well, this is her private handwriting, which she applied before the law school for a letter. Look at that.
All right. This is written in longhand.
Yes. So you take your time and go through it.
Yes, I will.
She alleged that she had been...
letter of introduction to NYSC.
Yes, that they should give her a letter of introduction from law school to NYSC. Okay. That she had lost her NYSC certificates. And this is the affidavit.
Okay, apparently
this is the affidavit she swore to.
Okay.
She swore to an affidavit in court that she lost her NYSC certificate in 2002. If you open it, you open the next page, you'll see that is a police extract from the police post in law school in 2019 October, and it is that extract comes from Mr. Ebenezer, who married to the sister, whom she said did not open the door for her to enter and take her certificates. But that is the same man that went to the police post to say that she had informed him that she lost her certificate.
Okay,
And
so
this
in addition to insubordination.
No, let me come now. I want to give you another document.
Okay.
You have a letter from the Nigerian NYS itself.
I can see that you're very well prepared. You've brought all kinds of documents, for us to peruse. But
this is just read this. Please read the last paragraph.
All right.
This is from the National Youth Service Corps,
okay.
NYSC.
And
Just read that last paragraph.
This is a photocopy.
Read that last
however,
paragraph.
no record exists either in NYSC Kwara State or NYSC National Directorate headquarters to evidence her participation in the scheme.
I rest my case. So I don't want to discuss her because that is not the job of a minister.
Was she removed after these findings?
She was moved after these findings. If something comes up that you were not aware of, that the person occupying a position, just like the former Minister of Finance, did not have an NYSC certificate. You know our law, either exemption or otherwise. What do you do? So I think the problem here is you have to blame my heart. I'm very soft. Maybe because I have 4 daughters, I love women.
Oh.
So what happened is that I decided that this should not be made public. So
but I just have been hard on her by actually sacking her. But
no, I didn't sack her.
Let's come back.
Let's come back. Approve our replacement. We didn't sack her. We needed to replace her because of the fact that she needs to explain these things. So we invite her to your studio and let her bring her certificates here and show you, and then come to us and tell us, oh, this is my NYSC. You can go and get certified true copy. I don't want people coming down and then trying to throw mud at other people because of personal reasons. Because the slander and slanderous allegations and all that she was making had no basis.
But has she answered to this question?
No, even that alone, we wrote to her. She has not answered it today. Okay. But I'm showing you her handwriting. Ask her whether that is not her handwriting. How can you swear to an affidavit? That is perjury. But nobody has charged her. That is to show you that nobody is shunting her. That's why I said she needs to calm down and then reassess herself.
Okay, big thanks to Arise News and of course Niger Eye for that clip. Must give them credit. But running through that clip, I didn't hear the minister respond to the issues that Joe Nunia raised, the issues about being asked to be involved in corruption activities or fraudulent activities, which she said she was not going to do because she understood the position of the law, particularly the law setting up the NDDC. All I heard about were fake NYSC certificate and stuff like that. I mean, gentlemen, I'd like to get your thoughts on this as we conclude.
It's unfortunate. You see, in sociology, there's what we call role learning. This is a man that has occupied sensitive position in this country. It is clear and obvious that the position that they have occupied has not changed him. Because in role learning, your position is supposed to mold you to some extent. As somebody that has been a governor, has been a senator, one would expect that he is able to respond adequately to allegation of fraud, that you misappropriated 40 billion over this short period that you have been a minister. It's something that you need to respond to. But he's just trying to assassinate the character of this woman. So also in order to discredit the allegation. But that is not the issue at all. The issue is that we must address the allegation squarely. And he has not done that. The paper I read when he responded was that he was also attacking the woman's family life. And that has been the pattern of his response.
Let me just get us to look at the implications of all of this in the fight against corruption. Because I know that one of the planks upon which the present government came on board is the plank of anti-corruption. But what is happening now doesn't reflect that, particularly with the Magu Gate scandal.
Now, of course, it is sad that what they professed, it's like Ekosun, had mentioned at the very beginning, the statement he made at the very beginning of his presidency. And when you look at it in the long sense of history, that you are not seeing action matching words. And that is the missing link. And we had hoped that, in fact, the hope that he should be the president was that when he comes in, we'll have a different country. A country where corruption was the things in the past. Everything we saw in the old days of him and Tunde Diagbon, we thought were going to be replicated. And because of that, we are not seeing any seriousness. And because there's no seriousness from the president, not going on presidency, we're not saying that, everybody has relaxed, and like you said, the body and the language, everything has has disconnected. And so because of that, people are no longer afraid, and nobody's intimidated. You play any game, you get away with it, you negotiate yourself. And at a point, everyone recalls when the former chairman of one of the political parties said, if you come to our party, your sins are forgiven. So what does that mean? You can come as a Babio and get washed up, and then you become a cleaner person. But then again, we the people, what are we demanding? What are we demanding? And I always quote this lovingly. When Professor Soludo was going to be the gubernatorial candidate in Anambra, he did say that the old statement always was, the people are deserving of the leadership they get. But what Soludo's theory is, the people are deserving of the leadership they ask for. Are we asking for a new order? Going back to what he was saying, my colleague here was saying, when we're really tired, that's when this social change we're talking about. We must be tired of corruption. The system no longer can continue in the way we've come to the threshold, and then we now move across and say to ourselves, no more, no more. But for now, we're not tired. People are still wanting to look at how do they make up their lives. And that's why sometimes people are advocating that one of the ways by which you address corruption is to improve the economy. If the economy is expanding and people can have satisfaction and fulfillment in one way or the other, people will not be chasing money as a permanent value. Because we are chasing money as if it's all the value there is in life, and it is much more than that.
Okay. Frank, last word.
I think that we thought we reached the crossroad in 2015. Because in 2015, we thought we were getting to the peak.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Nigerians got into this change mantra.
Yeah.
Everybody said, oh no, it's like these guys are really tired. If we keep on like this, we are just going to sail into the valley of oblivion. But this is 2020. And it seemed like the danger that surrounded us in 2015 seemed inconsequential compared to where we are presently. See, I think, like you affirmed, we must take ownership of this process. Every indicator in terms of livelihood right now seems negative. Nothing seems to work. Somebody once said that the greatest inspiration from government in Nigeria, or the greatest incentive, is for people to tend towards corruption. There is so much less incentive against corruption. Yeah. There is much more incentive for corruption. There is a prevalent sense of lack of social justice. I give a very clear example. We have agencies in this country, same federal agencies. If I can mention names, our friends are working in NPC.
NIPC?
No, NPC, National Political Commission.
Okay.
Where they've been working for years, they have not 1 degree, not 2 degrees, but their salary scale is within the range of 50 and 70,000. They work in Abuja, in the same country, in the same federal government. They have their colleagues that work in NNPC. Gatesmen in those agencies,
and farmers,
what they earn in a month is more than what they earn in another federal agency for 1 year or for some months. There is no social justice. We are in a country where a refinery in this country was opened a few days ago that had made losses of over 65 billion naira.
Yeah.
The billions of naira that is spent in, they've not been working for more than 3 years, but the money spent on defined maintenance and staff salary is humongous. Where do you go from there? You see, when you spend more than you earn, poverty is the destination. We got to the destination in February 2018 when we overtook India. But where are we going to next? We are not sure.
All right. No,
Don't give me 2 seconds.
Yes.
Let me tell you, when I continue to emphasize on institutions, I was in London when I applied for my NYSC exemption certificate. I went into their website, the Nigeria website, I applied, uploaded all my credentials, and I received response immediately through text that they've gotten my application and it's been processed.
Okay.
And after about a week, they also sent me a message that I should go and upload my passport, which I did. And after about 2-3 weeks, they came back to me again telling me that I should appear in Abuja with original
of your credentials.
I went straight to Abuja. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know.
You did it, and of course everything was.
When I presented everything, they cross-matched it with what I have submitted, and issued me my certificate.
So that's the institution you're talking about.
That's the institution I'm talking
about. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. It's also we like to have in a conversation like this. I want to do thanks to Tony Aboro. Personally, thank you for coming on the program. Frank Eyosu, we appreciate you for coming on the program. We'll take a short break now. We'll be back to conclude the program TMI Monday. Don't go away.